Coming up on City Spotlight, second to last episode of Season 8, and we are back on location in Teutopolis. We'll first talk with Nate Niemerg of Teutopolis for Tomorrow about this new organization in Teutopolis, how it got going, and what activities it puts on annually in the community. Then we'll talk with Marilynn Heuerman and Connie Nosbisch of the Teutopolis Monastery Museum. Marilynn and Connie share how the museum is helping preserve the history of Teutopolis and what historical items can be found in the museum. We're on location on a second trip to Teutopolis, here on City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. Hello and welcome to another edition of City Spotlight. We are taping here on the third week of July, and we are back in Teutopolis and in a familiar place, Village Hall, for our second episode here on City Spotlight on Teutopolis. And in this first segment, we're going to learn all about the organization here in T-Town, Teutopolis for Tomorrow. And to help us out, we welcome first time to the program, Nate Niemerg. Nate, pleasure to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Great again to be here in Teutopolis, the beautiful new Village Hall. We were last here a little over a year ago, and we're going to learn all about Teutopolis for Tomorrow. But first of all, Nate, you're a first-time guest to City Spotlight. Tell us about yourself.
Yes, my name's Nate Niemerg. I moved to T-Town in 2018.
Okay.
Grew up in the FEM area, moved away for about 15 years. My mom was a teacher here at the grade school, so it's a nice community. My wife and I decided to move back and raise our family here.
All right, very good. So you're from the area, familiar with the community. Looking forward to hearing your comments on the group that you are the president, board of directors for Teutopolis for Tomorrow. Somebody watching this episode is going, what is this? This is a newer organization in the community. Tell us, give a little history of this organization.
Yes, back in 2020, the village reached out to the Illinois Institute for Rural Affairs. They have a mapping initiative that they work with Western Illinois University.
Mm-hmm.
That initiative was used by some of the neighboring communities to some good success. So the village reached out to hope to kind of maybe spark some community development and maybe some economic development.
Okay. Leading this group right now here as we're taping here in the latter half of 2022. Why do you think this group is needed here in this community?
I think T-Town's a great community financially and socially. A lot of times I think it's hard to get activities and growth promoted. A lot of times new people to the area are looking for opportunities to meet and engage with other people. Mm-hmm. And I think the community really is supportive of these initiatives. And additionally, they also support the social events where you get to interact with fellow members of the community.
And as you mentioned, the organization just got going a couple years ago. So roughly how many people are involved? Are these volunteers in the community that come and help out?
Yes, basically when the mapping initiative got off the ground, we started with 8 action teams that each one was targeted towards certain high-level goals. Mm-hmm. Each of those teams, it's kind of a fluid number. I would say on average each one has maybe between 4 and 12 members.
Okay.
And they meet regularly to discuss progress, establish goals, and kind of discuss the ongoing projects. So.
And we're going to talk a little bit about the activities that you guys help put on throughout the year annually, and you have quite a few that have kind of blossomed here over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. Having done the Teutopolis, This Is Our Story program, learning from Angie Custer about the action teams and you guys getting going. What are those meetings like to plan out the year?
Yeah, so I think when we got off the ground, when the first Angie and I started with this project and the board, kind of our goal was to kind of maybe get our war chest built up to where we could, promote and kind of subsidize some of these action teams' efforts. Started out with a couple fundraisers that went extremely well.
Good.
That led to a lot of the groups kind of being able to take some projects and run with it. Those projects, they kind of run a wide spectrum. We have the golf cart movie night, which is an annual event. Mm-hmm. The garage band night, which is coming up on August 13th. Mm-hmm. And there's also a lot of, I would say almost kind of efforts that are put in place for maybe the younger kids, like bingo, and it's kind of an effort where they hide different kind of pictures of things in the community, and They can go out and find them. And
I saw on your Facebook page before we taped today, you had a building bingo.
Yeah, correct.
So different buildings in the community.
Yeah. So I think they took photos of portions of the buildings, and there was a bingo card, and the kids or adults, if they wanted to, could go and fill those out, submit them, and then a lot of these efforts, there are gift certificate prizes for the winners. So they do a trash bash where you take a picture of yourself, maybe you and your family cleaning up around your house or your neighborhood, and then they randomly give out awards to certain families.
Let's talk a little bit about some of those activities. The Teutopolis is a golf cart community, and so you think of how can we play off that maybe. Golf cart movie night. Tell us what the inspiration for that activity is, and it looks like there's been great turnouts.
Yeah, I think everybody liked the drive-in theater idea, and how can we take that, almost shrink it down a little bit, and everybody, obviously, it's very golf cart centric community, and so with the help of the banquet hall, they were able to, one of our action teams was able to, bring in a movie and just make it an event that people can drive into with their golf carts and socialize. And I think it's starting to expand. There's more bounce houses, food trucks, things of that nature every year. So it's been growing well.
And that activity gets typically held in June, the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's in the parking lot there of the Teutopolis Banquet Hall.
Yep.
And then obviously you mentioned the activity that's coming up just a few days after you're seeing this episode at home, folks, is the garage band. And that one looks like, from the images that I've seen on your Facebook page, great turnouts for as well.
Yeah, they've had a lot of success with that. I unfortunately missed it last year. This year I'm going to be able to attend.
Excellent.
I think they have somewhere in the neighborhood between 4 and 6 bands scheduled throughout the community.
Wow.
They have.
Are they local bands that are from T-Town or elsewhere?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. So a lot of times we try to promote if there's any local singers or bands. We'll try to engage with them. In addition, food trucks I think will show up at some locations. It kind of varies from year to year what that looks like, but it's gone over well, and it's a lot of fun, I think.
What's been the reaction of the community to all these new activities in these last couple of years that were not happening prior to this organization being created, but now they can look forward to these new annual activities that are a part of this community?
Yeah, we have great turnout, especially for golf cart movie night and garage band night. And I think T-Town's a great community when it comes to if there's a fundraiser or somebody needs help or anything like that, they really turn out in droves to support those efforts. And the engagement's been really good. We're always looking for any new members to show up if anybody's interested. The Facebook page is a great place to reach out and get connected. But the response from the community, I don't think we could have expected anything better.
Has the community reached out to you guys and said, "Hey, here's an idea for something," and you contemplate it, and maybe that's something down the road that could become a newer activity?
Yeah, the action teams, I think, are always welcome to new ideas. Those tend to come and go and get evaluated on a kind of a team by team basis.
Right.
But yes, and I think a lot of times people see one of the events and then get engaged based off of that. So it's been very positive in that regard.
So the Garage Band, that's happening again here just a few days after we're airing this episode in early August. What some of the activities that you mentioned that happen annually, what ones can we anticipate coming up in the fall that people can look forward to as well?
Garage Band movie night, or excuse me, Garage Band night. And then I think there's in the works, there is a glow golf tournament at the banquet hall. And then there's always kind of an ongoing, not necessarily an event, but it's an opportunity for maybe younger kids to go doing a bingo type
Right.
thing, or if they find all the certain images. A lot of times there was like a gnomes hidden throughout town. But those are always kind of ongoing. So there's always kind of some, they may not be a more bigger event per se, but there's always small kind of initiatives going on too.
Just a couple minutes left with Nate Niemerg of Teutopolis for tomorrow. Nate, what do you enjoy about being a part of this organization?
It's, as a relatively new member of the community, it's been a great opportunity to meet new people. I think, and it's been, as a person who did have free time, it's great to be able to use that in a constructive way that's benefits the community. So, very good.
My final question for you, is there anything else you'd like to add that we haven't mentioned that you'd like to get the word out about? What have you learned about Teutopolis in the process? You said you've met new people, but what have you learned about the community? You said you're a newer person to the community.
Yeah, I mean, I think I learned a lot about the character of the village. They're very, very giving. I would encourage people to engage with the Teutopolis for Tomorrow program. It's non-committal. You can show up if you don't like it. You don't have to stay. If you do have some ideas, I would say bring them to a meeting. And the action teams are fun groups to work with. And I think it's really a good opportunity to both socially and at a community level kind of bring some good to the village.
Well, congratulations on all the new activities you guys have created from scratch to add to this community and keep things lively and people be able to get together. So congratulations on that. Nate Niemerg of Teutopolis for Tomorrow. We appreciate your time here on City Spotlight.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And coming up next here on City Spotlight, we'll change locations and head over to the Monastery Museum. But first, let's take a look at some of the upcoming activities going on in Teutopolis. And we're back here on City Spotlight, this new on location episode here on Teutopolis. As promised, we've changed locations and we're now at the Monastery Museum here in Teutopolis. And to help us out, we welcome two first-time guests to the program. We have Marilynn Heuerman and Connie Nosbisch. Marilynn and Connie, pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're happy to be here.
Yes, we are.
Pleasure to see you again. Marilynn and Connie helped us out with the Teutopolis. This is our story program last summer,
Right.
Summer of 2021. Marilynn, as folks at home may recognize, she was the storyteller for the Monastery Museum story, but glad to have them both here on City Spotlight to talk about this truly amazing place.
Thank you.
Capturing history here in Teutopolis. Before we learn about this place, you're both first-time guests, and let's learn a little bit about yourself, and we'll start with Connie.
Thank you. I'm a native resident from this area. I grew up in St. Francis Township, just east of here. I went to school here, moved away, when I graduated, and came back when I retired, and I've been here since then. I started volunteering here in the museum in 2015, and have been a volunteer since then, and love it, actually.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And Marilynn, tell us about yourself.
I have been with the museum probably about 20 years, and I just have always loved the history, genealogy of families, and preserving history. I'm married, been married 51 years, have 2 children and 6 grandkids, and we just live right outside of T-Town, and I just really enjoy coming. My husband now is a volunteer, and so is my brother-in-law, and they really enjoy coming.
Fantastic.
We're happy to have you too.
Obviously, both of you have a lot of love for this place, and we're going to hopefully learn and share that with our viewers during this interview. So let's talk about this place. It wasn't originally here. There was something else that was here. So tell us a little bit about the history of the Teutopolis Monastery Museum.
Okay, so the museum is located primarily on this floor and also in the basement. We do give some tours, of our first floor as well, but this was the former novitiate for the Franciscan order, and the novitiate was the first year when the young man was making his decision whether or not he wanted to go on to be a priest in the Franciscan order, and he was here for a year. This whole floor was, and actually all 3 floors, the basement, first floor, and this floor were all utilized by the Franciscan novices. And this particular room we're sitting in was the classroom. The other rooms on this floor were primarily bedrooms, for the novices. They left here and moved to other quarters when this facility got too small, for them in 1967. And that was over 100 years that they were here, actually, as part of the Franciscan order preparation. And in 1975, then, we opened it as a museum. It was part of a project for the bicentennial year, which was the next year. Right. And we didn't start out with the space that we have now. It was confined to just a few rooms, primarily things from Franciscans, as well as those that were donated by members of the community.
And specifically for those that have been to Teutopolis or are learning about this place, it's on the west side of the St. Francis Assisi Church, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Behind the church and on the west side is the entrance.
All right, very good. Before we started talking, I mentioned what some of our questions are going to be. I think it's really neat what you guys are doing here. Preserving history is something that I have grown to appreciate doing this program and all the communities that we've been to. You guys are preserving the history of Teutopolis here.
Yes.
Why is that important?
I think for the generations right now, the children are kind of interested in, but I think once they get married and see where the history of parents and the grandparents and great-grandparents came from and what they had to work with. I mean, you can see all these tools here. This is what they had. They didn't have electric saws or electric irons, and so, I just really hope the children will realize that.
Connie,
we also have, we try to preserve our written history as well. And so families, they compile information about their family history, in the area.
You have lots of documents.
And we do have a lot of documents.
Yes.
And we try to preserve that as much as possible. We've been doing a lot of interviews as well with some of our senior citizens in that regard too.
As you can see, we're in a room with a lot of tools and things. Let's talk about the things that are in this place. You'll be seeing some video that I captured last summer for the Teutopolis This Is Our Story program. So give a little bit of what people can find if they decide to come here and have a tour of the place. What can we find in this monastery museum?
The the gas lamps that were hung down Main Street. I don't know what else there was.
There's a lot in this room in particular.
Yeah, let's talk
a
about
lot
this
of,
room. You see the tools that are
Right,
behind us here on the interview set?
A lot of smaller tools. We've got a lot of things that were used in the home as well. Things for cooking, a small spinning wheel, for example. old irons, before electric days. This huge chest that sits behind you that was actually brought over from Germany. It was like an armoire of sorts. We have old saws, ox collars, just butter churns, many things that were used, in everyday life by our early citizens of the community. In other parts of the museum, we have many things that the Franciscans has used as well, religious donations of religious objects. We have, for example, a cord machine that was made by one of the Franciscan brothers to help make the cord, the cincture that the Franciscans wear as part of their habits, as is mine. And we have many donations of all sorts of things, everything from clothing to embroidery and sewing machines, the old pedal style before electric days and electricity.
You also have rooms chronicling Teutopolis schools, obviously the achievements in sports.
Yes.
Pictures of past businesses that have been here. Obviously, some people that have prominent people that have been here. Some of the neat rooms that I found were the old furniture and stuff that were in houses.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. And lots of land deeds. I noticed lots of deeds and important documents that really show how rich the history of this community is.
And also our German history as well, because many of the early residents, were German.
And they talked German.
And they spoke Low German. They made their wooden shoes here, which was part of their history, their tradition. And we have those tools from the last person who was a wooden shoe
And for the folks at home, who's the gentleman that carved the wooden shoes?
It was George Diamond.
Very good, very
yes, yeah. And we also have...
and the wooden shoe name stuck.
It did, yes.
All right. I'm going to put you both on the spot here. Don't think too hard. What's your favorite thing? And there's so many things in this building, and having walked through it with you guys last summer, what's one of your favorite things?
Well, I mentioned it just a little bit ago, the cord machine, because it's truly a work of art.
And it still works.
And at the moment, yes. We hope it will for a long time. But it dates back to the 20s, 1920s.
Wow.
And so it was refurbished, in 1960s. But it, it takes maintenance to keep it going. It's 64 spools of yarn all falling together, to be woven, by this machine. It's quite a work of art.
All right, thank you, Connie. Marilyn, what's something, if you agree with her, you can say the same thing, or you can say something different.
I would just, basically it's the Pioneer Hall. There's just a lot to show. I mean, we have the grocery store, we have a toy room, we have a parlor, the buggy room with all the strollers and the buggies. There's a wood stroller in there. I want to add that Sharon Brummer and I have finished, we hope for a while, stories about the grocery stores that were in Teutopolis. We got up to 8, and there may have been 6 at one time.
Wow.
Yes.
And roughly, when was the last time that was the occurrence? There were six at one time? We're going back a ways, aren't we?
Yes,
I put you on the spot there too. I'm sorry.
Well, a lot of them were in the 40s and 50s.
Okay.
When
But
the
even when J.H. Griffin came here in 1925, that was also the case. There were at least 5 at that point.
Very good. Another thing I wanted to tap in this interview before we close is it's not just you two that I'm talking about that help put this place to what it is now and show it to people. But a day before we're taping here in the 3rd week of July. A few people were honored for their years of service for the Monastery Museum. That's pretty neat. You want to name drop who they were? I think you had mentioned yourself that you had 20 years.
Yes, I have. And the only reason I knew it was 20 because Ray Valling, who has been here
30 years,
he said I nominated him for president 20 years ago. So that's the only reason I knew. And then we had Eleanor Gebbin, and she'd been here 23. She's 90 years old. And then
Carol Hulsher.
Wow.
And she was here for 19 years. Serving as vice president also.
Now, a lot of them just I started out as a volunteer, and now I'm an officer. So.
And that's for the love of this place, the community, and history for volunteers to come and make this place happen. In our last minute or so, we thank you for your time, Marilynn and Connie. Obviously, folks, when they come to the entranceway on the west side of the church where you enter to come into the museum, you see the recent renovations. What is the community's reaction to that new entranceway?
I think most of the community really likes it. It's got an updated kitchen now. It's, I think, more receptive, to visitors.
We have an elevator.
Yes, that's
Yes.
a big draw.
Thank you for that. So I get all our gear up here.
I think it's been a success. Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And if someone is watching this episode here on Teutopolis on City Spotlight, and they're from Teutopolis or they're from the area, and they want to come check the place out, and you guys do give tours.
We do.
How can they go about getting a hold of you guys to come and see this place?
The best place probably would be to go to the parish office's website, which is St. Francis of Assisi Parish, Teutopolis, Illinois, and click, under the information about the museum, or just call directly to the parish, and we have a link, to them, a phone number that attaches.
You give special
to the
tours,
parish.
but you definitely have tours on it's usually the first Sunday of the month. Is that correct?
We do.
We do.
April through November on the first Sunday,
All right.
12:30 to 4 in the afternoon.
And it does take a couple hours.
Yes.
There's a lot to see.
I would know that.
We have 38 rooms, so small rooms, most of them.
Congratulations on
Thank you.
helping preserve the history of this deeply rich historical community of Teutopolis. Marilynn and Connie of the Teutopolis Monastery Museum. It's been a pleasure talking with you
Thank
again and
you.
having you on City Spotlight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
been
you.
an honor to be here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And that'll do it for our latest City Spotlight episode on Teutopolis as we near the end of Season 8. Thanks for watching City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.